Welcome again. Today we are going to speak with Rebecca Navagh from CatPrint. Welcome, Rebecca. We're really happy to have you. You're going to be talking to us about all the things that CatPrint printing can offer to small run and artists like Lindsey and myself and things like that. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here with you guys.
Hi, Rebecca. It's lovely to meet you. I think we're going to start with maybe a bit of company history, how it first set up and how you got started. Have you been with them from the beginning or?
Sure. So I will start by telling you guys the history of the name of the business, because we get that question a lot. The company was started by a husband and wife couple. The husband was an engineer at Xerox and here in Rochester, New York. And he used to get questions all the time from friends and family asking if he could print something for them. And being a software engineer, the answer was no, actually, I cannot do that. So he saw a need in his little community. And he, having a very entrepreneurial spirit, decided to start a small printing company with his son and his wife in the basement of their home. They knocked out a wall of the basement and put a giant printer down there. And at the time, they had a few cats who liked to sleep on top of the nice warm printer. So that is how the business got its name.
That's adorable. I love it.
Cats love warm spots.
You can't sleep on televisions anymore. There's not enough space, is there?
No, there's not.
They're too skinny. There are just flat screens now.
Yeah, it's too bad for the animals, huh?
Obviously, with us all being artists and primarily sketch card artists, we're always looking for things that are in the 2.5 by 3.5 size, inches, size for us to print our work on. What kind of options do you offer in that size specifically?
Sure. We offer custom sizing. So at CatPrint, the 2.5 by 3.5 size would be considered a custom size, but very easy for us to produce. We have listed on our website common sizes, which are 11 by 17, art prints 5 by 7, which is common for invitations, but 2.5 by 3.5 is a size that we see pretty frequently, especially for trading and sketch cards. We'd be able to do full bleed or no bleed in that size with a bunch of specialty finishing options. You could do the square corners, you could do rounded corners. We have a crystal holographic film that is overlaid on top. You could potentially do custom foil in a variety of different colors to add a little bit more dimension to your 2D prints, a little bit of sparkle, or if you have.
So you can do the metallics, so if you sort of highlight the part that you want shiny, you can do the metallic finishes and things like that.
Yes, exactly. So if you have, a special edition card that you wanted to run or something like that, that would be a perfect application for the metallics.
How would we set up the file for that?
So the file setup for the custom foil is a little bit more than what you'd need for just, a regular ink on paper card. So the way that the process internally works for us from, a technical mechanical standpoint, what we do first is whatever you want to be foiled, say it's your signature and maybe like the certain aspects of the background to make something pop, that would be a separate file all by itself. in black. And we would print
Okay.
in black, yes.
So the parts
we
that could be foiled would be in black.
Yes, exactly. And we would print just that black part, run it through our foil sleekers, and then you'd have a second file that was whatever color aspects you have on the design, and with the foil parts knocked out in white. So then we would run it through the printer a second time with that color laid over top.
Wow.
That's complicated.
It is complicated.
Yeah, so what you would do then is you take your image, you do your image as you want it, but then all the parts that the shapes you want in foil, you would cut that out again and put them on another layer in black, or just simply cut out as white?
For the foil part, you would do it in black. And the reason that we do it in black is black has the highest density coverage in that specific area. So when you print it, the black toner particles are very tightly close together. So when we run it through the foil sticks to the toner in a very compact way. So if you were to use, like a pink or purple or something, the way that the printers lay down the color, it uses both the toner and the white of the paper to create that color, but it's not as densely packed, ink or toner in that area. So it wouldn't give a nice full coverage metallic, whereas the black, because it is so densely printed onto the paper, will.
Interesting. That's fascinating.
So do you offer, like, say, I was looking into magnets, but the thin flexible ones?
Yes,
Sorry,
yes,
go on.
No, go ahead. That's fine. We do offer magnets. A lot of people like to use them for save the date cards for their weddings. That's a very, very common use of the magnets that we do. So they're very thin, almost like a very heavy cardstock. So they're very pliable. And we have seen people use them as business cards also, which is a great application. People can just stick them on cars or water bottles or their fridge.
So would you be able to get that in the custom sketch card size?
Yes, you can. Most of our standard paper stocks, you can get any size up to 12 inches by 18 inches. If you do print at that 12 by 18 size, they have to be no bleed, but we can do anything from 1 inch by 1 inch all the way up to 12 by 18 on any of our standard paper stocks.
Awesome. Well, one more thing I wanted to ask about magnets. I was wondering, can you get cut out ones that you can pop out of the whole, like, say if I had a card like this is a CatPrint card, very beautiful quality, look at the shine on that, but if I wanted to cut him out and like pop him out of the card, do you have cutters that can do that, or is it just all in one magnet, if you know what I mean?
We could do both. We have the ability to cut them out. It's not on our website. You'd have to email our customer service team. You'd need to provide both the artwork file as well as a knockout file for where you wanted the cuts to be, but we can absolutely do custom cutouts like that.
Well, I had a little idea. I wanted to get some collectible cards, but the magnets would actually pop out and then you'd be able to put them on a metal card, and sort of mix it up.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh.
That sounds really neat.
And found a company that can do it. Because, when you look on a website, like you said, because it's not something that's listed, you're like, well, I don't know whether they can do that or not.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point, Lindsay, actually, because like I've used CatPrint in the past and, great stuff, excellent quality. when you go to the website, it is a little bit like you do have to look around a little bit because it's not obvious. There's not really a drop down and gallery and all that thing, which is what we're pretty much used to.
So the watches,
Yeah, you kind of have to, but you guys reply pretty quick. If you leave a message like contact us or something, you do reply pretty quickly, which is very nice.
Yeah, our customer service team is great. They usually reply within 24 hours to any email requests that we get for price quotes or general questions or anything like that. We also have an online chat that's available during our business hours too, if you just want to shoot a quick question and you really don't, if it's relatively simple and you don't want to wait to get started on a project. The online chat is really nice, and that is, one of our customer service representatives is handling the online chat during our business hours. And of course, you can also call, and a real person will answer the phone and talk to you too.
Oh, that's nice. That makes a change. I just want to show you the difference in quality between CatPrint, and this is a company I found in the UK. Unfortunately, I'm not going to use them again because the quality is just not.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Obvious. Yeah.
And a lot of the edges were like scuffed and stuff, and you just don't get that with CatPrint. So, yeah, I just wanted to show that off a bit.
Yes, maybe CatPrint will expand to the UK or something.
What about your paper thicknesses? Do you have a wide range of card thicknesses? And
we do. We have about 40 different paper stocks to choose from, which is, I think, for some people really pretty overwhelming.
I would just like to interrupt for 1 second for anyone because that was a great question, Lindsey. And if anybody wants to explore your paper stocks, you do have sample packs that you sent out, which I have gotten, and they are so gorgeous. They're really nice. You also have some parchment ones, and you've got all kinds of stuff. Please go on.
Yes. I highly recommend ordering the sample pack. It's a little swatch book, kind of like deck of cards of all of the paper types that we have. It's free. You can order it, right on our website. You don't need to, place an order or anything like that. You can just you fill out a little form and submit your, you can choose either the classic sample pack, which is like the deck of paper, or specifically wedding, which will just show you some more wedding specific, save the dates and invitations, that kind of thing. You can choose between those two, and you have the ability to add on envelopes to either one of those options as well. So highly recommend ordering the sample pack if you just want to see what kind of papers we have available, because there are quite a few and it can be overwhelming. So we have anything from a letter paper that we would use typically to print a flyer or a brochure, something really thin but very smooth that's gonna hold the color really well, up to 130-pound really pretty thick cardstocks with a variety of different coatings, from a high gloss to a very smooth uncoated, and then a bunch of textures as well, from like a woven linen to a felt watercolor paper type finish, to like a very soft shimmery metallic, depending on what style your art is, or exactly the type of finish that you're trying to achieve with your prints.
The paper stocks are really, really beautiful. They are really, really, I would say they're fantastic for when you want prints. I fiddled around with a few of them. They're not great to draw on, I don't think. Well, maybe with pencil or something like that. But otherwise, for actually creating original artwork, I have to say that the stocks might not be too totally forgiving for that, but for prints, I mean, it's just really amazing. I love that stuff. It's really cool. Did you have something you want to say, Lindsey, before I ask another question?
No, it's fine. Go ahead.
When you have larger pieces, for instance, if we wanted to do like postcard size, or as you were mentioning, the larger 12 by 18 or something, files set up for that. If we wanted to have, for instance, a large sheet, whatever the size might be, to hold a certain number of 2.5 by 3.5 cards that we ourselves, assuming some of us like to do that, cut them ourselves. Well, for us, we need to know how to set up the front and the back so that the front end matches the back. So would we add a bleed to that, or how would we set up the file for that?
So the file dimensions should always match the print dimensions. So if you're going to print several 2.5 by 3.5 cards on a larger size, like an 11 by 17, the full size of your document should be, I would recommend, no bleed 11 by 17. And then you'll lay your 2.5 by 3.5 evenly on the page. And then as far as printing on the opposite side, I recommend if you, let me see, a little piece of paper so I can give you a visual. If you, here's your mini 11 by 17, and you've got your prints, laid out on here. This is a long edge and a short edge, and you can flip it on the short edge, and you'll want to make sure that the front and the back line up when you flip it on the short edge. So that's how you should set up your file. And if you need, it's kind of spatial to think about how to lay that out. Highly recommend printing a copy on your printer at home so you can make sure when you flip it over that they're lined up.
Would you have any space between the artwork on the front, or do you prefer having it like all stuck together?
That is completely up to the artist and what their cutting process is going to be at home. Okay. So if you're using, I know a lot of people use dies that they, they run through like a die press. I would definitely recommend giving yourself some wiggle room there because there can be some shifting when you're running it through the die. If you're doing it by hand or using a small guillotine cutter, there's less room for error. So I think it's fine to give yourself a little bit less space there. But honestly, I would say be economical about it. Get as many up on there as you can. Knowing your internal cutting process and what your margin of error needs to be.
So are you ready to start cutting, Lindsey?
I always get it wrong. I always get it wrong. I don't know how. I bought 2 guillotines. Wrong. That's why I was asking you about if you do them pre-cut.
We do. So can I talk a little bit about pricing for the larger sizes? Because I know that's a really common question that we get. And a lot of people, in addition to really liking having the control of cutting it down at home exactly the way they like it, they like to get them printed on the 11 by 17 to save money because they're cheaper. So the reason for that is with our internal cutting process, there's just not as much that goes into cutting the larger sizes. They're a lot easier for us to process in-house. There's less manual cutting on our end. So we are able to offer the specialty pricing for the 11 by 17 and 12 by 18 sizes, just because of the time it takes for us to process. And they are really common sizes for our artists who have, physical displays that they're going to cons and art shows for. And it's just a nice way for us to keep costs down for that size for artists who are displaying prints that way or selling prints that way. And it is, you will save if you want to cut them down at home just by, laying them out multiple up, we call it, on a sheet. So that is kind of a little tip, but also the reasoning why we do that.
Yeah.
No, she's not convinced. Well, I can say I've done small ones like that for 9 cards, and you do save a lot, and it isn't that hard. And the way I've set them up is they're like right beside each other, and then I just take the template, flip it completely like that. Of course, I will say someone else has explained to me how to do that. I didn't invent that. You know who you are. So you just flip it over, and then you put your back images right where the front images were. So there's it, as long as you remember to go from right to left and then left to right, you're good to go. And there's no error, because you just take out what was there and put in something else. So when you kind of just shlook, and it works great if you have a guillotine cutter, and it's not.
I think it's my guillotine. I was advised which guillotine to get, and I couldn't find one of that brand anywhere. So I don't know if it's just not in the UK or what, but the one I've got. Look at this one. This is awful. I don't know why I bought it. I could tell that it was going to be just the weakest. Like, it doesn't even cut thin things. That's awful, that one.
No.
And the other one, it's not exact either. So
got a big one. It's like shlook. Yeah, everybody in the house knows when I'm cutting things. The house moves.
I've got this one, and it just cuts wonky. I don't know. I'll get there in the end.
I'll show you the one I got. I'll find you one, Lindsay. I'll find one for you. I'll get you one. I'll get you one for Christmas.
Oh.
What else do you offer for trade people and people who do shows? Are there other things that you would suggest that they can use?
Sure. I think there are a lot. There's really a lot that we can offer as far as, displays for trade shows, as well as, some specialty finishing options and things like that. For trade shows, one of the things that's really nice to have are pricing sheets for your different products and sizes, which we can do. It's just kind of one thing that you can do for your booth that just kind of ties all of your prints and your branding together to show, and it's a nice visual for people when things start to get really crowded and they want to know more about your artwork. And it's just a quick, visual that they can see, which is really nice to have. It's really nice to offer things like, maybe somebody really likes a character of yours, but they either don't have the wall real estate at home to have a larger print, or, maybe they just want something smaller. So we can do bookmarks of specific characters so that people can, just kind of have that piece, that character a little bit closer for them. Say you're doing, sketch cards and you have a character or something that that's your main focus of this show or this year or this season or something. Having a variety of products and sizes for people to purchase either for themselves or as a gift for somebody is really nice. So, maybe they want, they have an attraction to this specific, character, but they really want to put it on their wall. Doing an 8x10 size of that specific character would be really nice. So there's really a lot that you can do just in changing up the size of the print, correlating to what the product is. So it can be a card turned into a bookmark, turned into a wall print, turned into a placemat or something like that.
Great idea. Do you also offer, please go ahead.
So you do other things other than cardstock? Do you do like mugs and, like you said, is it mouse mats and things like that?
We don't do that in-house. There are some really, really great companies that do offer, those more three-dimensional products. People are really into the enamel pins right now and making plushies and stuff like that. So a quick Google search will find some really, really great companies that can help out with that stuff. But it's not something that we do in-house. We're strictly two-dimensional at this point.
Do you offer boxes or like the where you can print and then you put it together yourself?
Yeah, like let me grab one.
Yeah, Lindsey will show you one. I think she got one. I haven't gotten any like that yet. Yeah, sweet.
That kind of thing. I mean, obviously you print it all flat and then I don't know if you do anything like that. Or
so we have the machinery in-house to do that. It would be honestly pretty complicated, I think, to set up a file to do that. So if you have a company who has a great setup for doing boxes like that, I recommend sticking with that. We do have the capability of doing it in-house. You'd have to set up a file that shows, where it's cut and where it's creased. And we have a machine that's able to do that, but I think the file setup would be pretty complicated.
Okay, well, that's good to know. I haven't done that yet, so I have no feedback on that. Not yet. You mentioned in the beginning, I was the crystal overlays. Like I'm all into the shiny and all that stuff. What kind of crystal overlays do you offer on your cards?
So it's the one that we have is like a glass shard holographic that we put over the entirety of the print.
Oh yes, you have one in the sample cards. It is so pretty. I haven't gotten it yet. That's for my
really nice. I will say
it has black, I think, or a very dark color, I think.
Yes, I definitely would recommend using a dark color. The film itself is actually a prism. So you lay it over the top of your print, and it's using the light and the ink to create like a prism effect. So if you're using a really light, pastel colors, it just doesn't add the dimension. It's going to show up really light and watered down versus using a dark color. It's just going to give it that depth and that really shiny pop of color that you're looking for.
I am so there. I like the dark and gloomy anyway.
Oh yeah, give me all the moody. I love it.
Are you a fan yourself of stuff?
Are you a fan of stuff?
I would say more than I am a fan of stuff. I listen to, I'm a podcast, fan. I like true crime, that kind of stuff. I am, I guess, more of like a champion of the artist. So, the more, we follow a lot of our customers on social media and love to watch the reels of them, creating their stuff and their process and everything. So as far as, characters or anything like that, we definitely have, a lot of people here, especially in customer service and production. But I myself, I don't think I am exactly a fan of anything, but I just like to watch people make their stuff.
But you seem to know what artists might like to have, like a trade show or a card show or something. So I figured you must have been to one.
Yes. Yeah. I'm really more in the capacity of, supporting the artists in their fields and what they do. So very invested in the creation, both from the art, the creation of the art and also the business, development of these small businesses of the artists and kind of seeing how those develop over time, both in, the diversity of their product, adding more characters on. It's really, I'm in it for that. I really love that.
So for displays, do you have anything that is like stands up on its own? Like or would you have to have those acrylic things?
Yeah, you'd need to have the acrylic things. We have the ability to do wide formats, so very large display banners for, any signage or anything like that, but they are flat and we would ship them rolled in a tube. So you'd need to find either clips to hang them on or some sort of frame to put them in, acrylic or otherwise, or, mounting it on a foam board or something like that.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
What do you use, Lindsey?
I don't. I've got a roll down banner that sits behind me, but I need to sort out all my table display. It's not a professional display at the moment. It's just sort of what I have to hand. I've got some of those acrylic steps that I'll sit little cards on, and I need to find something better. I will. I'll get there.
I have a tablecloth with my logo on, actually, which I love. That, yeah.
Yes, yeah, we've gone to some trade shows in the past, more for like stationery and wedding, and we got a tablecloth with our logo on it, and
Cool. I like it.
it's so cool. It really is. It just, it kind of transforms.
And it fits on any table because it's, it's one size fits all. So it just hangs there. It's great. I love it.
Yeah,
hard to wash, but I highly recommend it.
I don't think we've ever washed ours.
I feel better now.
Oh, dear.
So you seem to really enjoy your job.
I do.
Have you been with CatPrint for a long time, or have you worked at other similar places before you worked for CatPrint?
Well, I've been at CatPrint for 11 years, a little over 11 years now. Before I worked at CatPrint, I was a nanny. So this is my first job. I went to school for graphic design, and this is my first, kind of real job in my field. I started out working in production as a production specialist, an entry-level position. I came in, I learned how to, pack up the boxes to ship things out and do the shrink wrapping. Then I learned how to do the cutting and folding and other finishing, and then finally learned how to run the printers, and was given some really, really great opportunities here to advance and move around all through the company to a variety of different positions. And I really do like it here. The environment here is very curious, and we are always looking to get better, always looking to grow in efficiency and process and things like that. And it feels that sort of stuff here is so employee driven. We say, hey, this is kind of not working anymore for, people are doing a lot of 11 by 17s. We need to figure out a different table system for packing our boxes or something. And it feels really fluid that way. A lot of really good changes from everybody here. So that's one of the things I love most about working here at CatPrint is the constant, thought and improvement in the product and in the process. I really love it.
It seems like, having qualifications in graphic design, that, you have a creative outlook anyway. So you'd be able to help in those processes, wouldn't you?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. We've got a lot. Maybe everybody here is an artist in some way or another, whether that is, pen and ink or music or cooking or graphic design. We've got an awful lot of graphic designers here, painters. I can't think of anybody
who's not creative.
Who is not creative in some way or another. Gardening, yeah, we're chock full of creatives here, really.
You mentioned earlier that it's the environment you work in as well. It's very pet friendly, given where the name came from.
It is, yes. We've got our customer service manager is very involved in animal rescue. here in Rochester. So we have a foster cat who lives in the office with us right now. His name is Milo, and he's looking for a forever home right now. But we've had, gosh, 10 or 15, resident foster cats over the years. We have a lot of kittens that come in during kitten season, just during the day to hang out in the office. And then
CatPrint.
Yes, it's really nice. And then we've got the dogs. A lot of people bring their dogs in for the day, and
that's awesome.
It's great having dogs here too. Yeah, I think we've got maybe 5 or 6 dogs who come in kind of like on rotation. They're here, on days that we're really, really busy. Generally, we won't have the dogs come in just because we kind of need to get down to business, but they're here often. The dogs are here. It's nice.
Oh, yeah. I would love to work for you.
It's nice. It's fun. I will say that.
Are you a big company?
Right now we are hiring for one production position, and after that we will have a total of 20 employees. So we're pretty small.
You're small, but not tiny.
We're small but not tiny. So we've got 20 employees, I'll say. And we ship out on average about 400 different jobs per day. So it's the volume, and the volume's pretty high, but
so you are pretty busy, and the pandemic, I'm going to guess that probably it was hard to have all the employees for work, but seeing as everybody was at home, well, you can send stuff out to be printed. I don't know. Right. Was it hard for you to get through the pandemic?
It was hard. We had to downsize quite a bit because the majority of what we were printing for is either physical art shows or weddings, and those both were not happening. So at the beginning of the pandemic, it was so eerily quiet here. It was heartbreaking. And then very, very quickly, we saw how many artists were using that time to work on new stuff or become the artist that they wanted to be at all. And we just, once the lockdowns ended, everything picked up so quickly. It was incredible. So we've definitely seen a shift since the beginning of the pandemic. It was, quiet and kind of heartbreakingly slow for a little while, but it's come back tenfold, and we've been able to hire a lot of our employees back, which has been really great. And
so you got to meet your dogs again.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The dogs, I think the dogs were here probably every day, just to give everybody a little bit of comfort.
I find it's really great working with smaller companies anyway, because you can get that interaction with them and get a reply, and stuff doesn't get as muddled because it's not going through as many hands, and everybody knows what they're doing. So I would more trust smaller companies than larger ones, to be fair.
Yeah.
Art.
And we are small, like we're micro companies, Lindsey and I mean, we do stuff, but we're not like, we don't have employees or anything. Well, we have families who are employees, but that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
But we do like to support the smaller groups, people, companies, and all that stuff. I had something I wanted to ask and it just flew right out of my head, but
we definitely appreciate that.
But yeah, so speaking of stuff, what would be the easiest way be for any artist who wants to contact you and maybe look around your website to find out what might suit them? Because trading card companies, I have a feeling they didn't slow down all that much because people had nothing else to do during the pandemic. But we don't always know, especially as smaller ones, full disclosure, we don't do everything at one company. We will have some things done with you, some things done with someone else, and yet other things done with someone else. But it's nice to know where to go for what you need. What's the best place for artists to go to ask you questions or just to look and see?
Sure. I would start looking at our website very shortly after that by looking at our social media and the hashtag CatPrinted, because there are tons of artists who share their work. And I think that's probably a really good testament to the different types of styles, products, finishes that we offer. If you have questions, definitely the online chat is really useful, or just, an email to see like, hey, can you guys do this? Do you offer this? If you don't see it on the website, definitely always ask, because a lot of what we do is custom pieces. So for example, we don't have a job type that's the 2.5 by 3.5 size, but it's something that we're very capable of doing, something that we do pretty frequently. So I would check out both the website, our social media. Instagram people have been really, really amazing sharing their products. It's a really good tool to see exactly what that crystal holographic film looks like in action. People have done some.
Wait to see that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
great
definitely going to be
reels.
ordering some for my next set. That's going to be coming up. And Lindsey, I'm sure you're going to try it too.
I need something special for some of my cards. Yeah, I enjoy like a holographic border, a shiny border.
Yeah, that would be great for the metallic foams. We have a really nice iridescent foil that I think a lot of people probably would call holographic, that I highly recommend looking at. There's some great videos and reels on Instagram of that. It's really pretty neat.
Awesome.
Okay, so the best way there's no real gallery on your website. The best way to see what you offer is to do the hashtag on Instagram then. Okay.
I would look at that. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to include that in the show notes.
Okay.
Yeah. So that would be hashtag CatPrint, I guess.
Hashtag CatPrinted.
CatPrinted.
Yes.
Okay, everyone, go out there and hunt that down.
No, I will be.
Yep. So excuse me. So will I, definitely. Is there anything that you would like to touch on that we haven't asked, seeing as we don't work for companies? There's lots of stuff I'm sure we don't know.
I think the only thing I want to add is how really, really amazing it's been to see how supportive the artists are of each other, especially on Twitter, but looking for resources. I can't recommend enough, finding groups and finding forums, because, if you're looking for products, obviously we're not going to have everything that you need. And I think as a small business and as an artist, finding the tools and products that you need to, to put your work and your brand out there is really important. And I've seen with our customers, a huge diversity of product and finishes and everything that they don't only get through us, but finding those forums and those groups is key to, having that support as an artist, especially, things are opening up pretty well here now, but just having that online support, that sort of immediate answering of your questions. Reddit is great. There are some really nice groups on Facebook.
Reddit?
So I would recommend kind of finding your tribe online if you are looking for a diversity of products. You can also get some details, sure, for us too, but the community of artists is amazing. They're so supportive. They're so smart and informed about the industry and shows and, platforms to sell on. It's great. They'll be supportive.
That's great.
One last thing. Do you always have a minimum quantity of what
we don't? Yeah, we don't at all. So you can just put in like a custom quantity. Like if you want 12 of something, you can put in 12 and that's fine. So
That's fantastic.
So
yeah,
technically,
there's no minimum at all.
like regardless of price. So technically, I was speaking earlier about this metal magnet idea.
Mhm.
So if I came to you for the magnets and just kind of wanted one of each magnet with the ability to like pop the magnet out in the middle,
Mhm.
you would be able to give me a quote for that, just for a basic, say 4 or 5 of them.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one thing I will add also, color, right? So it's really common for color to look dark when you're printing them through a printer like this, the process that we use, especially when you're using really dark, like we like, Ingrid, the moody, really saturated colors, they can come out dark. So I highly recommend always getting a free hard copy proof if you have time to make sure that your colors are right, because it's very common for prints, when you go through, an online printing company, they're gonna look darker than they do on your home printer. It's really, really common. So know that, and we offer the free hard copy proofing service. It will add to your turnaround time, but it's really important if you're wanting some very specific, especially those really, really dark saturated colors, to do that.
May I ask a quick thing? For things like that, where you're going to have maybe the free proofing thing, for someone like Lindsey who lives overseas from where you are, because you're in New York, that might get a little bit complicated, and it's shipping is really expensive these days. Is there any way around the problem of shipping costs or of any kind?
So, as far as getting a proof and shipping it to the UK, it's absolutely something we do and something that is still a free service for us. It's going to take a while to do that, unfortunately. So, what I would recommend in that situation is maybe, at the beginning of a project, doing like a swatch sheet or something like that, so you can get the colors before you start finalizing your artwork and finalizing your designs, so that you've got an idea of what those colors are going to look like, and you can use that as a reference point. Now, the nature of digital printing it's just not offset, where we're mixing colors, and there is, just in the nature of it, a little bit more of a color shift, but it should not be significant. If you are seeing something significant, let us know and we'll make it right.
Is there a way that we could get like color swatches from you? And then, for instance, well, even for me, I'm not far away, but there's a border. So sometimes when I order things, I have to pay border fees and things, which can add up to a lot. So for people who are outside of the US, is there a way that we could get a copy of color swatches, have them like on the wall or something? And then when we know, well, we want this color, we can just look and see, okay, well, that one, it's going to look like that. And
it would be something that you'd need to order. I would recommend doing it custom to your style.
okay.
And then as far as, trying to keep the shipping costs down, I wish I had a great and easy answer for you, but I just don't. The way that our international shipping works, our website is connected to the carrier websites, and they give us an exact price of what the shipping costs will be through that carrier, and that's just what we pass along to the customers. And it's not pretty. It just isn't a pretty picture. I wish it were, but it isn't.
Oh, I do understand. I'm in the same situation right now.
Yeah.
I think we've pretty much covered everything. Lindsey, do you have anything else you'd like to ask for your next super project?
I don't. I think I know everything. I know what CatPrint's able to do now, and there'll be people to help me figure it out. And yeah.
I've got a list this long of stuff for my next project, and I know there's a bunch of stuff that I'll be ordering through you. I can't wait to try it.
Great.
Okay, well, where can everyone find you? You spoke quite a bit about social media, so I'm guessing that CatPrint is on social media here, there, and everywhere. Are you even on Twitter? I didn't think
We
of
are
it.
on Twitter. For the most part, we just retweet things that our customers are posting, but we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter. We just started a TikTok because some customers have been putting some amazing videos of our products and process and everything up there. So we're kind of figuring out TikTok for ourselves right now. But you can find some good videos and stuff on there of the products too. So I recommend, those 4 platforms.
And you have a Facebook page?
Yes, we have Facebook.
Okay, I can't remember if I've found you on Facebook yet or not, which would be shocking. But okay, all the links will be in the show notes below of where to find you. I'll get all the details once we've ended this. Well, any last words, anyone, before we close up shop?
Nope. Happy cat is happy.
Happy cat is happy. Oh,
Thank you so much for having me. It's been really nice chatting with you both. I'm excited to see, your new work come through and, how you guys end up using the website and the product and everything. And it sounds like you've got some interesting stuff up your sleeves. So I'm excited to see that.
Our sleeves are hanging like this. We've got lots of stuff. And we also know of other people who have very heavy sleeves too. So yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for having joined us, Rebecca. This has really been interesting. Well, it's been fascinating actually hearing about all the things you do. Hopefully we might be able to have you on again in the future.
Sure, I'd love to.
Things too. So thank you so much. Everyone go check it out at www.catprint.com, I believe, and fiddle around there. And it's easy to get a hold of Rebecca pretty much anywhere. All the links will be in the show notes below. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you,
Thank you. Take care.
Rebecca, and pat the cats and dogs for us, please.
I definitely will.